Okay. I thought this would be like the perfect time to kind of do this since I'm literally just moving boxes. And I mean, this shit's pretty boring. So I like might as well just throw some commentary. I say throw some commentary over it. Like I'm not trying to do both at the same time, but either way. Um, but today I want to talk about being smart and not like the fun being smart and like outwitting your enemies and I don't know, bro, scoring an A on your like, exam or whatever your scoring system is. Um, but it's like more so to deal with the expectation that you have with people. Uh, maybe it's maybe it's like the ignorance that comes with not knowing how people think. But the shit can suck sometimes. Um, and I think it's relative too. Like being smart is like it's like a per topic or per I don't know. It doesn't like you're not smart at everything. You're smart at some things, dumb at others. But that's just because you just don't know. Unless you're talking about willingness to learn. Willingness to learn, I feel like, is a completely different concept than being, I guess, intelligent. Or I don't know. 'Cause I don't know what smart means. Like genuinely, I don't think I've ever looked at uh, a book definition of the word smart. But I'm using it in the context of intelligent, of knowing, of being informed. Um, Damn, honestly, like when I think about it just now, like intelligent sounds like internal elegance. Like that's what it sounds like the word is made of. Um, but realistically, yeah, that shit low key sucks sometimes. Especially socially when you're like you have like certain expectations of people because you think everybody's thinking the same thing. Like there's no way. Like if one plus one is two, two plus two is four, right? You would think that. You would think that, but then somebody's struggling to grasp that concept because of whatever reason. And I guess that's the part that kind of sucks is not knowing that reason. Um, Not knowing that reason, not knowing how to communicate with them, not knowing how to, and maybe that, and that's like another form of being smart is knowing how to communicate with people. Because I mean, you could know how to read, but if you don't know how to communicate what you read, then it's like I wouldn't say what's the point, but um, if your objective is to share that information, then yeah, like knowing how to explain it is important. The only time that it wouldn't be important is if you don't care to explain that information. But then it needs to also be applied because knowledge without application um, doesn't allow it to be a skill. But you apply the things that you learn, and it becomes a skill set. A big part of this is I was talking to somebody recently about the idea of like morality of being a good person because sometimes they brought up a concept that was like are they a good person because they decide to give money to the homeless person or are they pretending to be a good person because they're giving to the homeless person because they think it makes them a good person. And I feel like that's like a very interesting concept because um, people don't like we don't all have those same opportunities. Like I don't see homeless people every day, or I do see homeless people every day actually. I wouldn't say every day, but like a lot of days. I don't give them anything, but it's because I just like the ones that I've interacted with, the times that I have given homeless people, I literally gave this guy money, and then I watched him. I said, "Stop digging in trash cans, and I will give you money if you stop digging in trash cans." And the moment I gave him money, and not even, and you know, sure, who am I to tell this dude what to do with his life, right? But not even, not even a minute later, like it's so crazy. Not even a minute later, he's like, I give him like $5, and he's in the trash can to eat something out of the trash. And I'm like, whoa, bro, dude. Like, and then after that, I stopped giving money to homeless people. I was like, yeah, nah, dude. I'm like, you're out here because you want to be, bro. Like, I don't even know. Like, you don't care about the things that I would assume a human being would care about. And I assume you can say like, oh well, well he's hungry. Well then I'd buy him food. I literally told him that. And then you could say like, oh well, you're not gonna buy him food for the rest of his life. Yo, tell me why. When I was a freshman in college, I literally I had a homeless guy that I worked with, and he told me about the time how he told me about how he would go to the he'd come to work from the shelter, and how somebody like stole something or whatever while he was at the shelter, and so he's upset and that's why he's having a bad day. And I was like, dude, I'm like, you have a job, so you're already doing really good for yourself, like as a homeless person to have a job. And you don't seem like a piece of shit, so how about you come stay with me in my fucking studio apartment, so that which is like walkable. You can walk to work from there. um and we just split the rent, since you literally have a job. And that completely backfired on me, because not only did he like have these like outbursts and these like tantrums and these like sessions where he'd just like break out and cry about this stuff going on in his life. uh but well, he's it's like, and I say stuff going on in his life, it's like girl problems, like not like anything crazy, but it's literally just yeah. I'll finish this up in a little bit. Okay. I went and looked at my notes, and yeah, it really is just like it's just like the complexity of human emotions. Like I wanted to understand what I was doing wrong in that situation, because I felt like I was doing everything right. But me and my friend actually had a conversation about that kind of thing. Is like, if I know that 2 + 2 = 4, and I try to explain that to somebody, who am I in that situation to tell them that 2 + 2 = 4, when to them 2 + 2 = 4, but their 4 is a variable rather than a constant. Like my 4 is a constant because of my experiences, but that doesn't apply to every person. And for them, it may be true, like that 2 + 2 = 4, but that 4 might not look like a 4. It might look like a 2. So even though they understand that, oh, this thing is bad for me, or this behavior isn't conducive of the life that I want to live, they continue to do it because they feel like, well, the world is like gonna somehow change to accommodate what they believe is for. And not even like that's not even like the end all be all in terms of what is it called, in terms of, I guess, what the 4 is. But it really is just like a situation of like, my reality is not their reality and their reality is not mine. And so who am I, even in their reality? What number am I to tell them that, oh, this is how you should live your life, or this is what makes the most sense, and this is how you should carry yourself, or um, this is like, I don't know. It really is just like a question of who am I, you know? And I feel like it's just so complex because it's never something simple, you know? It's never going to be a super simple endeavor when it comes to trying to be a good person or trying to help people. Um, because not everybody wants to be helped, and sometimes people do want to be helped, but they don't know how to accept help. And I don't think it makes me a bad person to not want to extend myself to so many different types of interactions and situations that like. But I guess to skip all the rambling, now it's like when I think of how I would help somebody that's in a situation like that, I realize that I don't have the tools available to me to be able to actually do that for somebody. And does that suck? Yes, but the reality is that if I stopped to give every homeless person I ever saw $5, I'd eventually have no money, and then I would become bitter. and then I would, because who am I when I have no money? You see how the variable changes. Like if I was a millionaire and I gave every homeless man I saw like $5, whatever, I'd probably still have like probably well over $1 million. Like just, but if I'm some dude who like works like a regular job, regular 9 to 5, and I sit there and give every homeless person $5, it's it's a lot for me because I don't have $1 million. And so if I was to sit there and try to help homeless people now, it would be something that I would sit there and I would try to wait. I would try to wait and do after I first put myself in a position to where it doesn't require me sacrificing myself. Like I don't know. It's like the idea of you can't pour from an empty cup, and sometimes to be a good person you have to hold off on pouring. To be a good person you have to like fill your cup first, and then you can pour when you have an abundance, rather than trying to pour from a place where you're still a variable. You're not even a constant yourself. You're still changing. You're still growing. And I say that I donated like $50 once to like this charity thing that they caught me outside of a they caught me outside of a grocery store, and they were like, "Oh, donate to this charity." And I was like, "Sure. Here's $50 so I can feel better about myself." Not even because I actually care about the charity, but it's so that I can know in my heart, like, oh, okay, I gave money towards something that made sense, or that they at least portrayed it to me in a way that made sense. And so I'm like, okay, even if I like in my mind, like I'm the type of person that's like, oh well, donating to charity isn't really doing anything because, um, where's the money going, type thing. But I don't know what those people are doing with the money. Maybe in the perfect world, they are actually doing things that would help people with the money that we give them, and I can only hope that. And I feel like that's kind of just, I guess, where you have to be. Anyhow, I didn't really have too much to say in regards to that. It was really just, I don't know, like understanding that it is hard and it is a complex thing to consider whether or not you're a good person, or to consider whether or not it's even worth it to be a good person, or if it even matters to be a good person. And that kind of stuff comes down to, does it matter to you? Because to some people, they don't care if they're a good person or not. They just, they don't, I mean, there's no reason, like, there's no, like, rules to whether or not you should or you have to be. We're just animals, like every other animal on the planet. We might have a conscious, like, but we've already discovered that these other creatures, they have like similar experiences, they have emotions, they feel pain, they so it's like, what makes us genuinely different besides the fact that we've constructed this shell of a society around ourselves, and these like moral principles and beliefs. Not everybody has the same life, not everybody grew up in the same world. So it's not fair to say that one person is bad because they have certain beliefs. It's really just a game of circumstance. And if you care, then care. If you don't care, then don't care. But, that's who you decide to be at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all see this landing though. This landing's gonna be pretty tough. And then after that, I think I've said what I wanted to say without rambling too much. Um, and if you guys like this kind of content, definitely let me know, because definitely the kind of content that leans more in the direction of where I want to go with things. Because I think about a lot of things and I have a lot to say about a lot. Oh yeah, and I just hope that it makes sense. Anyhow, anyhow, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.